In the bitter winter of 1203, a baffling report emerged from the Crusades. Seasoned warriors, protected by advanced stone fortifications, were freezing to death. But nearby, local Scandinavian communities were not just surviving, they were thriving. Their secret was hidden within walls of simple wood and turf. They had mastered a form of thermal engineering so advanced it defies our modern understanding. This is the story of how ancient wisdom outsmarted the harshest winters on Earth. It begins not with stone, but with the very soul of the structure, the wood itself. Excavations at the Borg Museum in Norway uncovered something impossible. Timber from Viking longhouses showed insulation properties that exceeded modern materials. But this wasn't just good luck, it was intentional, advanced material science. The Vikings were not just builders, they were timber engineers. They selected specific trees from the harshest northern climates, trees whose fight for survival created a dense, resin-rich cellular structure. Then, they subjected the wood to a process that sounds counterintuitive. They called it cold seasoning. Soaking timber in near-freezing water for an entire winter restructured the wood. Modern tests have validated this. Cold water treatment improves thermal resistance by 30%. But here's where it defies physics. This treated timber becomes a better insulator as the temperature drops. The colder it got, the more energy efficient the Viking house became. Exactly the opposite of our modern homes, which bleed heat in the cold. The walls of a longhouse literally sealed themselves tighter as winter worsened. But this engineered wood was just the first layer of their genius. The next discovery would make a modern HVAC engineer question their entire profession. Let's go beneath the floorboards. Surveys of Viking sites revealed complex networks of stone-lined channels under the floors. They were not for drainage, they were arteries for heat. The central hearth, which we see as a simple fire pit, was a thermal battery. It's carefully arranged, stones absorbed immense heat from the fire. Then, it radiated that heat for up to 12 hours after the flames died. But the true genius was how this heat was distributed. Hot air from the hearth was funneled into these underfloor channels. It created the first radiant floor heating system in Northern Europe. The entire floor became a gentle, consistent source of warmth. This passive system could sustain life at -40 degrees with minimal fuel. They had achieved what modern green building calls thermal zoning. This was 1,000 years before the term was even invented. A smart foundation and intelligent walls were incredible. But the final piece of the puzzle was found in the roof. And it's a feature that would make your smart home look like a Stone Age cave. Archaeologists at Trelleborg in Denmark uncovered something extraordinary. Automatic ventilation systems were built directly into the roof structures. These weren't crude holes. This was precision climate control. And the most incredible part, they required zero human intervention. The building literally operated itself. As the inside temperature rose, the expanding warm air would open the vents. This prevented dangerous overheating and cleared out smoke from the hearth. When deadly cold air from outside hit the roof, it would contract the air inside. This would automatically seal the passages, conserving every bit of precious heat. It was a perfect self-regulating system. It also managed humidity, preventing the buildup of ice inside the walls. The archaeological record shows Viking families sealed inside during the worst storms. They could survive for weeks, with safe air quality and stable temperatures. The house itself had become an autonomous survival machine. But the Vikings engineered one final feature that separated life from death. It addressed winter's deadliest threat, beyond the cold itself, starvation. Excavations at Jarlshof in Shetland revealed something brilliant. They had engineered their houses to create multiple, distinct climate zones. It was the first integrated refrigeration system in medieval Europe. The areas near the hearth stayed warm and comfortable for living. Middle zones, further from the fire, maintained perfect cellar temperatures for food storage, and the peripheral areas, near the cold outer walls, stayed just above freezing. This was perfect for preserving meat and fish for months without spoilage. Isotope analysis of preserved food shows they also mastered fermentation. Their techniques didn't just keep food edible, they improved its nutritional value. They had created a complete survival ecosystem, all within 4 wooden walls, a system that could sustain an entire community through months of total isolation. But this revolutionary technology had a critical vulnerability. None of it would have worked without the most crucial element of all, knowledge. Operating these systems required knowledge more complex than a modern engineering manual. Every single member of the community had a life or death role to play. Children learned thermal management through apprenticeships as rigorous as warrior training. Runic inscriptions suggest this knowledge was preserved in carved technical manuals. The precision had to be absolute. One mistake could doom them all. This created a system of knowledge preservation more accurate than modern documents. And one final revelation proves just how advanced this forgotten science truly was. It's a science that modern engineers are now desperately trying to recreate. Look at today's most advanced cold weather facilities, like Antarctic research stations. They use the same principles of thermal efficiency the Vikings perfected a millennia ago. The passive house movement studies reconstructed longhouses to achieve maximum efficiency. Even military survival training now incorporates these ancient techniques. The shocking truth is that effective survival isn't about overpowering nature. It's about adaptation so perfect that environmental extremes become an advantage. Vikings optimized for resilience when resources were scarce. We optimize for convenience with an abundance of energy. But what happens when the grid fails? Which approach keeps people alive? Climate researchers studying historical adaptation call this a lesson in resilience. They created systems that functioned independently of external resources. Our modern construction often fails the moment external energy is cut. The lesson isn't that ancient technology was magically superior, it's that their priorities were radically different. Vikings engineered for survival when everything else failed. We engineer for comfort, assuming nothing will ever fail. The answers to our future challenges may be buried in our distant past, waiting for us to rediscover that the most advanced solutions aren't always the newest. They are the ones most thoroughly tested by the brutal honesty of necessity. Think about this. Right now, you are likely in a building that relies on constant power, a building that could become uninhabitable within hours if that power failed. Meanwhile, our ancestors created systems that sustained communities for months. They faced conditions that would challenge our most advanced technology today. They did it with nothing but wood, stone, and brilliant, hard-won knowledge. The Vikings didn't just survive winter, they mastered it so completely that their solutions are now a roadmap for our own future. True genius isn't about having the best technology. It's about understanding the problem so deeply that your solution becomes unbreakable. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever seen a simple, robust system save the day while complex tech failed? What traditional techniques do you think could solve modern problems? And honestly, would you trust your life to a smart home or a house built by Vikings? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this made you see primitive technology in a new light, smash that like button and subscribe for more lost innovations that put modern engineering to shame. Thanks for watching. Stay curious.